Hello there. Today I watched Babygirl, and now I want to tell you about it. Fear not, friends. Despite the name, it is in fact not a porno. But it really wants to be. Babygirl is a drama about a high-powered female CEO having an affair with a young intern at her company. Just to give you a heads up, despite it not being a porno, sex is a major theme of the film and dominates the script. The sex isn't vanilla either. It's a mixture of BDSM and role-playing. It's a good idea to watch this at home, and preferably alone, as it could get quite awkward if anyone walked in at the wrong moment. With that in mind, let's begin. The story was written by Helena Rain. Rain also directed the film, which stars Nicole Kidman as the powerful CEO, Antonio Banderas as her loving husband, and Harris Dickinson as the hot young intern. The story is your typical power fantasy. A successful, rich female CEO of a tech company isn't happy in her marriage. Despite her husband's charming nature and saint-like parental skills, he can't satisfy her in the bedroom. When a new male intern catches her eye, a fling begins that threatens everything she has. For positives, the story is cleanly executed and filled to the brim with sex. The cast is small, but the actors do an incredible job with the material and take risks that few other Hollywood celebrities would. The visual journey is somewhat basic, but captures the action in a clear manner. The soundtrack brings an interesting atmosphere to the film. Starting with the story, they get the motivations across without making anyone look too villainous, and do a good job of exploring the ideas presented. It's all pretty one note, but that's what the film marketed itself as, and they definitely delivered. As far as logic goes, everything happening is fairly straightforward. There's a little bit of stupid drama toward the end, and it doesn't have the best resolution, but it's clearly explained. For action, there's constant non-stop sexual encounters between Kidman and Dickinson, from mild public play to intense sessions in a motel. They manage to dirty all the sheets and rustle all the rugs. There's also a little bit of relationship drama with Banderas' character, but it gets resolved in a fairly cheap and non-committal manner. Cast-wise, there are 3 big roles and a couple of supporting characters. The supporting characters each get their own little storyline and personality and do a good job of adding unique flavors into the mix. The 3 big roles are the CEO, the intern, and the husband. As the CEO, Nicole Kidman is tasked with playing an uptight and extremely competent businesswoman. She puts on the perfect image in public and with her family, but deep down she has dark desires. Kidman plays the character as confident until it comes to sexual encounters, and then she becomes meek. She's asked to undergo all kinds of different treatment throughout the movie and presents a huge variety of different emotions and reactions. She does a fantastic job playing out her relationships with both actors and does an incredible job with her character's emotional journey. Harris Dickinson plays the intern who woos her. He's a confident and assertive young man who has a problem with overstepping boundaries. Dickinson plays the character in a naive, innocent sort of way, with bursts of immaturity. Dickinson shows off a decent amount of chemistry with Kidman and does well enough with the emotional journey. He's not quite as practiced as Banderas or Kidman, and it does show a little. Antonio Banderas as the husband is the perfect catch. He bakes, he's an artist, and he's successful in his own right. He also loves his family to pieces and tries his best to satisfy their needs, but doesn't always know what that means. Banderas plays it like he's a dream husband until the climax when he gets to do a great emotional outburst. Visually, the film is extremely simple. It's a couple of fancy offices, some expensive-looking homes, a restaurant, and a club. Most of the action is sex-related, so it's 2 adults playing reindeer games in the buff. Other than that, there's a little bit of basic conversation work. It's all shot in a fairly straightforward manner. The only exception is the club scene. Sound-wise, the film uses irregular tracks. There's some classical music at the start and a little dance music towards the end. But most of the sounds in between are more about creating a mood than actual songs. Long, drawn-out tones, rising drones, chanting, breathing. It's hard to list all of it, but the tracks do a good job of bringing out the sexual nature of the story and trying to reinforce that kind of mood. On the negative side of things, the visual journey is pretty bland, and the soundtrack doesn't do much to support the emotional journey either. From a purely technical standpoint, this film is extremely boring. It's got very little flavor, and it takes a lot of lazy shortcuts. Like at one point, they're sitting in a restaurant and all the dialogue from her friends at the table is ADR work. They didn't even bother to shoot them, and it's super obvious when they never once cut to anyone around the table. They also insert a lot of generic background noises like crowd chatter and club sounds. It's super distracting if you happen to notice it. Visually, there was one really bad scene too. They visit a club later in the film and the lights flash on and off the entire time. It makes the entire visual so dizzying and awful to look at that I honestly have to wonder how many people had a seizure watching this movie. Personally, I wasn't really bothered by the content of the film, but I didn't find it all that interesting either. The cast did a pretty good job with the material, and the visuals and soundtrack were okay. If you like smutty stories, you'll probably love this film, but if not, it probably doesn't have anything for you. It's just one of those cheap erotic novels made into a film with big-name actors. They spruced the dialogue up a bit, sure, but it's still the same thing at its heart. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 6 out of 10. It executes its story well enough, but it isn't the kind of thing I'd recommend to everyone. It basically only works in a niche audience. But remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye!